you read me?
Be advised, you are coming in weak and unreadable.
Say again, Comm Tower. This is Pacho. Do you read me? Over.
Pacho, this is Comm Tower. I read you Lima Charlie.
Comm Tower, Comm Tower. Request permission to launch and commence the field op. Over.
Stand by. Pacho, permission granted. I say again, permission granted.
Roger that. Launching podcast in 3, 2. You are now entering the field op with your host, Pacho Correa, Chief Warrant Officer 3, United States Marine Corps retired. Get some. Hurrah!
Get some. All right. Hey, what's up, everybody? Another amazing week has gone by. Friday night's Eve. Baby Friday is upon us, but goddamn, it's almost the weekend. Hey, I got a really amazing and really cool show with an awesome and badass guest. But before we get started, let's get all the pleasantries out of the way, everybody. Man, I just want to say, that's an amazing intro. So shout out to Brian and the folks here at Sitchradio.com for helping me put this amazing show together. So let's give him a shout out to him. And by the way, if you want to be a podcaster, you want to get in the podcasting game and be a fellow colleague per se, hey, go to Sitchradio.com, get with Brian. He's an amazing friggin' coach, everybody. He'll get you where you want to be, not only in the podcasting game, but as well as coaching on getting and excelling on whatever it is that you do within your industry. So I highly recommend that you get with my man, Brian Colburn. All right. Another thing that we want to talk about is, hey, the VA is an organization that helps us veterans, helps us with our claims, helps us, with our medical, as well as benefits. It's not perfect. I just want to say that because I know some of you are like that. Well, it's not perfect, and what? But hey, it's better. It's better than nothing. So you could be like the regular American that pays a lot of money for, medical services on their own and out of pocket. So, I mean, it could, it's an amazing organization. So put your claim in, get that stuff going. Who knows? And just to say, I'm sure there'll be some other positive benefits, hopefully coming up with this new administration, because they always want to win our votes. So hopefully it'll just keep getting better and better. But you can make it better yourself by going to the VA website or the whitehouse.gov website. And if you got any issues, complaints, or beefs, you go on there as well. But submit your claim, get your stuff going. If you got any questions, I'll solve it. Check out the group with DJ Revolve. Ice Babies. What an amazing song. But seriously, hey, if you got any issues with it or you need help with your claims, hit me up. I'll be more than glad to help you out. All right. So, and look, this show wouldn't be here today if all of us who raise our right hand to say, I will support and defend the Constitution of the United States of America against enemies, foreign and domestic, ... This show wouldn't be here today because, with the rights and freedoms that that amazing document provides. So what does that mean is that, hey, here in this show, we support freedom of speech, the right of bear arms, and all the other amendments and all the other things that the Constitution states. So if you're all about it and you like this sexy accent and all that good stuff, then hit like, subscribe, and follow. Go to my YouTube channel. Go to TikTok. I mean, I'm all over the place. So pass me around, let people know, and support your local podcaster. All right. And if you don't like it, then hey, go check out some really cool stuff from Brian, because I am sure everything that he puts on in his channels is worth its weight in gold. Right. So how did I meet this? My guest is an amazing person. I met her at a networking event. Obviously, everybody knows here that I'm in the financial industry, and I solve people's problems as it relates to finances and getting where they want to be financially so they can retire whenever the heck they want. So I met this amazing person in one of my networking. And by the way, if you never, speed dated or anything of the sort, I highly recommend you go to Alignable. I'm not getting paid by them, but this is where I met this amazing person. And I mean, as soon as she opened her mouth, I was completely hooked at the things that she was talking about. So instead of me just getting ahead, let me bring on Amy Sai in the house. Everybody, let's give her baby.
Wow. Thank you so much for having me. And you're right, Pacho. Like that intro is like out of this world. I was just like my jaw was dropping as I was listening to it. It's amazing.
Yeah, I know it's really, and every time I hear it in the background, because obviously I have a screen on, but I'm always chuckling because it brings back a lot of cool memories. So, but Amy, what a pleasure to have you here on our show. I'm a huge fan of all the things that we talked about, and we're gonna get on that as well. But let's why don't we just tell us a little bit about what is the what is it you do, and what is it that and who you represent and all that good stuff.
Right. Well, thank you for having me. It's what a real honor and pleasure to be here. And so my name's Amy, and I live here in Toronto, Canada. And what I do here as a reset it specialist is that I teach people how to reset what doesn't belong to them. And what doesn't belong to them are the thoughts that people have that stop them from doing the things that they want to do. And yeah, that's basically what I do in a nutshell.
No, and that's great to hear because again, we had an amazing conversation, and I was all about it. But yeah, if I can ask, so in your transition, what led you to being a coach specialist, or to become a reset specialist? How did you get there?
Right. That's a really good question because over the years, so my background is in fitness. I'm a fitness trainer. I've been doing that for, 28 years now. And as a fitness trainer, you become a health and fitness coach because that's just what you do, because people are always
Right.
looking to either lose weight or get strong. And I specialized, my niche was weight loss without dieting for women over 40 and loving your body forever. Because I'm a woman over 40. And when, stuff starts to happen there, like hormonal stuff, and, we like, every women are like, what's going on with my body? Right. So that's what I did for a very long time. But over the course of my career, I was always looking for ways to help people change their habits easier. Because as you
Right.
know, habit change can be challenging. And, when I asked my ladies, it's like, what is it that you need to do to feel better in your body? And 100% of the time, and this is no joke, is they all knew what to do. So it wasn't the knowledge that they were lacking, is why aren't they doing it? What is stopping them from doing it? And this is the programs and conditions it's our programs and conditions that dictate how you think, feel, and react. So if you want to change how you think, feel, and react, then it's important to reset these programs and conditions. And these programs and conditions are things that we pick up along the way through life. Right, wrong, good or bad, like it or not. We all Can we all
Yes.
agree with that? Yeah, I mean, I was carrying a big luggage around for decades, right? And that was part of my
Right.
journey too. And I was always trying to figure out how to get rid of this luggage and then I came upon the Resetter program, and the gentleman uh, created this program, and it's out of quantum physics and neuroscience. And he discovered a way how to reset these programs and conditions that don't serve us any longer. And this is really the reason why it's so hard to make changes in our life, right?
Right. Right. And how can and thank you for that as well, because you kind of brought led a little bit to my next question, because if you obviously spoke about how this that journey personally transformed you transformed you at the same time, and obviously it's an inspiration to others. How can I guess, to bring it to more military on
Mhm.
us, on this
Yes.
demographic, how would this help veterans and in reconnecting with their core self, so to speak?
hmm Yes. So here's how it relates to military, especially through the transition between, military to civilian life. That transition can be extremely difficult for a lot of
Yes.
people. And it's because when they're in the military life, they've been programmed to, live a certain way and be a certain way,
Right.
right?
Right.
So, and then now you're doing a 360 and you're like, how do I survive this? Whether it's through, whether it's through service, meaning if you're in combat or what have you, they've been through a lot of stuff, right? And it's no different than the trauma that I went through as a child, being picked on as a visible minority in school.
Right.
and being last picked in gym class. Trauma, the stuff that we go through is stuff we go through, regardless of whether it's, military or civilian life. And these things that we pick up along the way is dictating how we think, feel, and react to things. So this is why it's so hard to change. So when that transition from military, it can be, I've talked to a few where it's like depression, anxiety, all these types of things. It's very traumatic. And it's really about resetting these programs and conditions that no longer serve you, because now you're in the civilian life. What you did and who you were it doesn't apply to you in the civilian world. So it's really about making that transition a little easier for people, right? And that is the key.
No, I mean, you're a lot of the stuff that you're saying really resonates here, because, and I've been part of many PTSD groups, because obviously when you kind of share your story with people who wore the same combat boots per se, you find a common ground and you're more open to sharing. And yes, one of the resounding themes, so to speak, in those conversations is, once you leave the service, how does that warrior integrate back into society? Because for however many years, whether it's 4 years, 21 years, you were, hey, this is my rifle, this is my rifle. There are many like it. So we associate with that weapon. We associate ourselves. Hey, I'm a Marine. I'm a soldier.
The identity, right? The identity.
Right.
Identity.
And we lose that. And that's why we tend to gravitate to like people like us. And it's other vets, instead of trying to, get to know some other people. So we have this somewhat negative connotation. Shout out to Matt Scott Gilman, who just joined the show. But yeah, so we have this predisposed notion of, hey, civilians are nasty. Civilians are, again, these are just some, because it's the reality. Hey, they're nasty, they're lazy, whatever. So how does a service member, how can they, who are struggling with this transition and kind of reintegrating into a community, how does this approach help them get into that? And how do you address those with service members?
Right. So oftentimes, is that when you're trying to reintegrate with society, you're kind of looking through life through these holes. We call them, programs and conditions. Right, wrong, good or bad, like it or not, they're there. And it's hard to live your life through trying to look through these holes. And then once they're not there, then you have more freedom and clarity around what it is that you want to do for yourself. So you're not being dictated by, ideas of life in the military, in the civilian world, in society. It's literally about it's really about creating that detachment so you can be who you want to be. Because who you are isn't about the military or civilian. It's just, you are just who you are, and you get to decide.
Yes.
You get to choose. Not what was taught to you in military, and not what was taught to you in school, not what was taught to you in society or in social media or whatever it might be. Right. So the control and the decision is now upon you to make that life what you want it to be. Right. And I think that's probably the biggest difference between, resetting and not resetting.
No, and I guess if we want to generalize it, man, by the way, I'm getting goosebumps just talking about it, because this all makes a lot of sense, because we have we have these programs. Again, I'm a Marine, do or die. If things go sideways, I'm ready to pick up my weapon or whatever. Or to put it in the other aspect is, I'm always fat, I'll always be fat. Or, I can't lose weight because of XYZ. I can't, because I'm poor, I can't do that or achieve these financial goals. Those are, like you said, programs that we buy into, when it's just kind of like that. We're looking through this plane or this velvet sheet, so to speak, that we just got to
Curtain,
break
yeah.
to, right?
Yes. Yes. So you're allowing something else or somebody else or what's out there in the world to dictate how you think, feel, or react. It doesn't you don't get to decide for yourself, right? So and for example, in the military, it's like, you were taught a certain way, you're taught to react a certain way, you're taught to, do things a certain way. And then which is completely different in civilian life. It's completely the opposite. But yet, I have talked to some veterans where they feel like they can't sleep at night. They're thinking that someone's
Oh,
going to
yeah.
break in the house. You know what I mean? Like this feeling of something's going to happen. That's no way to be, and the transition, like everybody deserves to be happy in their life and even through that transition. And they don't
Yeah.
have to live that way forever.
Right.
And this is and the difference between the resetting and other modalities is that, the resetting is getting it to the root of the programs and conditions and trimming off all the different branches associated to that belief system.
That's good.
Right.
Yes.
And yeah. And when I do when I do these calls with people, like they literally they would have they're having some struggles around making a decision. It's like, okay, do I do this or do I do that? If I do this, then I can't do that. But if I do this, I feel guilty for that. Right. It's like, what do I do? It's because they're trying to decide through, like as you said, like a rose colored or a curtain, and you can't make these decisions like through these holes. And then literally we do the reset, and instantly I could see that there's something going on in their mind. I go, what's going on? What's happening? And they'd be like, oh, I know exactly what it is that I need to do. With like 100% conviction, no doubting, no questioning. It's 100% belief. This is what I need. This is the right thing that it is that I need to do. It's instant. For I've seen it online when I do calls with people, and it can change that fast. Versus the long and hard way of trying to do something new and to do it for a length of period of time to try to get over what it is that you're trying to get over, like the idea of like working at it, getting over it, doing, like that kind of thinking, which is kind of like the old way of doing things, versus the resetting is really about resetting those programs and conditions. Much like, if you have children, you see young toddlers, you see it probably the easiest, like 2, 3, 4, 5 years old. You can see they're full of joy and happiness and clarity and fun, and so that's because they have absence of programs and conditions. That's who we are. And then what happens with life is all these things come up, right? Like all these experiences in life that get on top of who and we're kind of like covered under this shield, and that we don't get to be who we want to be or who we really are. So when you reset those programs and conditions that don't serve us, a lot of people know, like even for myself, it's clarity, freedom, joy, and happiness.
Everything in man. This is gold, by the way. So, hey, folks, if whoever's out there, if you're not taking notes, or you better come back and watch this show again. Maybe go to my YouTube channel. But what I'm saying is, I'm a huge audiobook fan, because I'm I sometimes get busy and doing other things, and I'm listening to Jensen Sharrow's "You Are a Badass," and what you just said. She said that it basically, I mean, everything resonates. She says, as we're babies and kids, we have this, uninhibited notion. That's why babies, they just run around in their diapers, or, butt naked, whatever. They don't care. It's just that when we have everything else, and we have these programs and this input from other outside sources, that's where our frontal lobe, that's where we become over analytical, where we over analyze things, where we should just be, doing stuff or taking that risk or leaving that crappy job or whatever the case. Whereas if we just get the F out of the way, that frontal lobe, and let our true selves do whatever, that's where the magic happens, right?
Right. Exactly. That is exactly right.
Yeah. So let me ask you, so how can resetting these patterns and these programs, how can they help veterans as well as anybody reconnect with their authentic selves, so that especially after experiencing life in the military or some type of traumatic experience.
Right. Who you are is there. There's just layers on top of who we are, and we don't get to express ourselves to be who we are. We're being dictated by other things, or or by our past experiences, things in the outside world, social media, right? Like, you know what I mean? It's a perfect example. I mean, we're all consumers of that, right? And so if you want to feel better, I invite people to come do this program. It's game changer. It's probably one of the most effective things, and what is the most effective things that I've come across. And I've done a lot of research. I've been looking for 2 decades. I've been looking for 2 decades. I remember one time I had an energy healer, and he said to me, "Amy, you got to learn to let go." And I'm like, okay, what does that even mean? What does that mean?
Yeah.
How do I begin? What do I have to do? Nobody tells you how. They just tell you to go do it.
Right.
Right. But I never gave up. I always asked, like, what does that mean? How do I do it? What does that mean? What does it even look like? What does it even feel like? Right. What does that even mean? Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's a head scratcher.
No, and it's funny because when I was in the VA, again, I'm a huge advocate for the VA because obviously it's the Veterans Administration, it's the only one we got. So I mean, we got to work with what we have. But when I was taking meds, especially on my way out of the military, I was on some heavy duty happy meds per se, because again, unfortunately sometimes that we don't treat the problem at the root. We just kind of put band-aids. But I would often ask, doctors, psychiatrists, psychologists, RNs, who's the type of nurse that can prescribe? Is it PN, RN? Anyways, but I would ask him, like, hey, how I'm taking these meds, how am I supposed to feel? Am I supposed to feel like, woohoo, hell yeah, the world is great? Or, because I still feel pretty kind of shitty, so how am I, and then how is this helping me? But nobody could give me a straight up answer. Like, well, you just got to take, it's not a marriage. You just got to keep us, and then we can tweak your medicine. And I'm like, well, that ain't working.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So
that's right. You're absolutely was
looking,
right.
Yeah. So I was looking for something that, okay, well, we got to get, I got to get better. I'm still somewhat searching, and that's where I found you.
Yeah. And guess what we're doing tomorrow, Pacho? Can you tell everybody?
Yeah, no, we thank you. Yes. So just so everybody knows, again, because everybody on the show, they know I'm very transparent with my journey, with my depression, and everybody knows my story. So just so everybody knows, I'm putting myself through the treatments that Amy provides, which I highly, and it doesn't, the link is right there on the show bio, by the way. So there's ways that you can get a hold of Amy. I highly recommend that you go there and, just have a talk with her for an hour, see what you discover. But yes, tomorrow I'll be part, this is before. And then we have 2 sessions that we're gonna do, and then Amy and I will come back and we'll do an after. So we'll see, you see me now, maybe next time you'll see me floating up in the air.
You'll be levitating.
Yeah, you'll be levitating. But I highly recommend. Amy, are there any simple techniques that veterans can start using or start recognizing some of that program, and maybe they can start letting go a little bit or releasing some of these things that are kind of holding them back?
Yeah, I urge you to come have a conversation with me about the program and about what you're going through. Here's what I've come across is that it's great for past experiences. We all have experiences in life, right, wrong, good or bad, like it or not. and it puts a little, sometimes a little dim light on us every now and then, right? And
Okay.
we try to push it aside. We try to work at it. I mean, I've been working at my stuff for 20 years, and it wasn't until I reset it that really it was like, okay, that's it. I'm full in. I gave up my coaching to do the reset it because, what I used to teach people in 6 months to a year just to break ice, I could do this in 2 90-minute sessions, a
Wow.
fraction of the time,
Wow.
and that when I had that experience, like, I'm like, okay, I'm all in. I gave up my coaching business and I just do my training and I do the reset. And and I literally, like I said, I put people through 6 months to year-long programs to break ice. And that's if you're lucky. Right. And this process or this technique and this program is really a game changer, especially for, depression, anxiety, all these things, PTSD. What's the other one?
Oh yeah, believe me.
Substance.
Just
Yeah.
preach on, sister. I mean, you've checked every box.
Yeah, and I'll give you an example. So I had a friend who was going she was going through some stuff, and she was a cancer survivor, and she was a big wine drinker before, and she gave it up during her treatments, and then next she started picking up her wine again. She was always after work, and we're on a call, we're doing the reset, and she picks up her glass of wine, and I said, hey, let's start there. She goes, okay. So literally we did some reset around the wine, and then we get off the call. She texts me afterwards. She goes, Amy, I went to the fridge to pour myself another glass of wine. She opens the fridge, pulls the bottle out, goes to pour, and she couldn't pour it. She couldn't pour
Wow.
it. She didn't want it. She goes,
Wow.
what just happened? She goes, I don't want the wine. What? It was crazy. I was like, yeah. I said, that's resetting. Because her body was doing what she normally would do. It's like, okay, I'm getting off my computer. I'm going to go to the fridge and refill my glass of wine. Couldn't do it.
Yeah, it's kind of like that. We fought, and it's kind of like what we've been talking about. We get into these patterns where it's just kind of like, okay, numbing, like, okay, I got up. Yep, I usually do this, pick up the wine or whatever it is that we do that doesn't serve us any benefit, whether it's making money. It's not an income producing activity, or it's not that activity that's going to help you write that book that you've been wanting to do, let go of that guilt, or lose weight, exercise, whatever. We're just kind of like meandering, so to speak, like, oh, this is what I do. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I had another gentleman, exactly what you were saying. He had his own business, and he was like, I just can't get started. I know what I have to do, and I find myself sitting in front of the TV doing nothing all day. He's got to work, he's got to make an income, and he just couldn't get going. So we did some resetting around that, and I followed up with him. He's like, he emails, I got full clarity. I know exactly what it needs to do. And now he's like, go get her. He's up and moving, and he's not sitting on the sofa anymore. He's doing what he wants to do.
No, and again, it's just how is it that we get out of our way? Because we tend to be our own worst enemies. How is it we get out of our way, so that way we can really tap into our full potential, and really, and really excel at whatever it is that we want to excel. Because nobody, and I'm a firm believer, because I follow, we talked about it, Joe Dispenza, Greg, Bruce Lipton, Greg Braden, all them guys. And basically, the amazing thing is that nobody here came into this world to say, I'm going to be worthless and useless. Nobody came with that mission. Like, it's just our environment and the people that we're with. It's what shapes us and molds us with these invisible or unwritten programs in our head that we think we need to follow. You know what I'm saying?
That's right. That's right. That is correct. Yeah. And just think about that little toddler, whether it's your own child or somebody else's, how carefree, joy, happy they are. That's who we are. And it's really connecting yourself back to that person, allowing that person to be.
Wow. That's very fun. What so as we getting ready to wrap up, a couple of things. What's the message you hope veterans and service members can take away from our entire conversation? Because we can have an entire
Oh yeah,
couple of
yeah.
hours show just on this stuff alone. So, what would be a takeaway that you hope people take back with them?
Yeah, I mean, I would love to have a conversation with anybody that'd be up for it, and let's talk about some of the things that they're going through, and let's see how I can help, because it doesn't have to be that way, right? Just doesn't.
No.
Life isn't meant to be that way.
And are there any? I know that we have a reset it it.ca. That's your website. And by the way, it's all on the show description, everybody. And it'll be also available on the YouTube channel. Is there any social media outlets too that people can go and follow you and maybe drop you? Because obviously, we're all over social media. So where can they drop you some DMs, as they say?
Yeah, for sure. So, there is the Reset It Instagram. I'm under Fit Fierce 40 on Instagram. So that's my handle, but the Reset It handle is, I think it's Reset It. And then we also have a podcast as well. That's also available. I think it's on YouTube. I think, yeah. We have YouTube channel. We have a podcast channel. And the Reset It website that, there's 12 of us. So Mark Mathis, who's the creator of the Reset It program, he's been doing this on his own as a one-man show for 16 years.
Wow.
So now he has 12 of us, I think 10 or 12 of us specialists that teach this method to everyone. So, if you don't resonate with me and you want to go on the website to see, have a chat with somebody else, by all means, there's 12 of us that are teaching this technique, and we all have different backgrounds. So I'm fitness. There's also some, trauma therapists that are also doing the Reset It. And there's a couple of, business and sales and marketing background people that have all come together to teach this method. So it's not just me and Mark, but there's 10 others. So feel free to reach out to any of us.
No, I think this is great, and I'm super excited to see what happens after this. I mean, I know I'm Superman right now, but I know I'm going to be even super.
That's right, levitating.
That's right. Amy, it's been an amazing experience having you on the show. For sure, we're gonna bring you back. I mean, obviously, we're doing this is the before, everybody. So,
Yes.
We'll see what happens after this. I mean, I know I'm awesome now, but I'm gonna be that much awesome after.
I'm excited. I'm totally excited for tomorrow and the next session and the post podcast to see the difference. We can chat about it.
Sure.
Thanks again,
Amy. Thanks so much for your time. We appreciate you, and then we'll see what happens.
Yes.
Awesome, man. What an amazing show. What an amazing guest. Let me tell you, everybody. Go to click on, follow that link. Go to that chat. Go to her webpage. Find her on Instagram. I'm telling you, it'll be worth it. And it's the 290-minute sessions are very well. It's worth your time. So just go have a talk. Just have a chat. If it resonates, fantastic. At least you get to discover a little bit about it, because whenever it's time, your body will either way, your body's going to let you know, and your mindset as well. And I saw it as a blessing. I saw the universe saying, "Hey, you're ready for this." That's right, neuroquantum chats, and that's right, Mark. Thanks so much for pointing that out. But yeah, as again, I'm reading. I like to read a lot. Jensen, one quote that she said today, as I was walking my service dog today early this morning, is, "When the student is ready, the teacher will appear." And I'm at the point where I'm ready to receive all the great things that God, the universe, whoever it is that you preach to or believe in, puts in front of you. So I'm super stoked. So more to follow, folks. All right. And I think this is a great place for us to index. If we're gonna, before I punch out of here, I just want to say, everybody, is that if you've been struggling with, your demons, going into that dark hole, and all those areas that you feel yourself where you can't get out of, and you keep digging yourself in that hole, reach out to me, reach out to the show. Maybe it's time for you to be able, here's your warning order, or here's your sign from the universe. Maybe it's time that you go and talk to Amy for a little bit and discover something that you need to, start letting go. I don't know. But the last thing we want to do is, be talking about you at your funeral, one of us having to write your eulogy, because as honorable as it is, some of these organizations raising money for veteran suicide, ice bucket challenges, push-up challenges, whatever the case may be, it's not going to bring you back. So wouldn't it be much better to address the problem and communicate with your family and have a support system right there backing you up? Then let's do it. Let's do it. Let's save a buddy and let's talk to a buddy. And if you haven't spoken to somebody, one of your battle buddies in a while, do a battle buddy check this weekend, and then just tell them, hey, keep the chain going forward. All right. So with that being said, everybody, we're gonna go ahead and end this, and I'm gonna let go. I'm gonna get out of here. So Ice Tomas, Dice the Key. We're out of here. Yeah, hoorah, get some. See you next week. Bye-bye.